What's up, MDY? Welcome to our first ever MDY Live. We are so pumped to be doing this. This is going to be an every other week on Thursdays at 7 p.m. live show coming to you from wherever I am and wherever our guest is. We are very excited tonight to have joining us our youth president and her husband.
Accurate.
Because I only say that because I've heard him say that. And so we are very happy to welcome Austin and Stephanie Hopper to the show. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Hope
Hi.
you're all doing well.
Hanging in there. Let's start with the elephant in the room. You're at home. I'm at home. Everybody should be at home. Let's talk about.
In there. Yeah, sorry.
Let's talk about quarantine.
Oh, okay.
Oh, dear Lord.
Well,
So,
have you ever been drowning and you have some kids hanging off you
And then
and they
people give
hand you another kid? That's what quarantine
haven't.
at our house is like.
That's
what
quarantine at the Hopper's house.
what's something other than being in church that you guys are missing during quarantine?
Wahoos.
Eating out, so
Yep,
I don't have to
yeah.
cook or do dishes.
We definitely miss going to our local hangout here at Wahoo's Diner. Well, it's not really called diner, but the restaurant that we always go to for breakfast to see all of our friends there here in town, and we just haven't got to hang out with them. But
I don't care what restaurant it is, as long as it is not my kitchen, it's not my dishes. I don't have to serve it, I don't have to clean up.
So you're willing to take the Applebee's half-off appetizers?
Okay, well, that's a little
it's
bit
not
far.
commercial and it's not camp time. Let's not go that far.
I'd say the 115, Wahoo's, all those would work. It doesn't have to be like Black Rock or anything.
No, I think you guys are probably the diner connoisseurs out of the youth committee. Can you give us a top 5 diners in Michigan?
Okay, so
Oh no. Well, I think we differ in opinion.
we do differ because we're from different sides of the state.
Let's hear it.
So
Let's
let's
hear East and West Side.
I do have a couple in Detroit that I like, but it's because she introduced me to
Well, Coney Island,
them. Coney Island.
for sure.
Wait, Leo's or National Coney Island?
National.
National. Leo's is also good.
But Nationals is a staple.
It is. Especially, what's the one over there that we would go to?
On
Gratiot
That's the
12
original
Mile.
one.
The original. That's a good one. The 115, of course, is
really good.
amazing. I've never been disappointed there. So that's one. That's two. We really can't put them in order too because they're all very, they're different. Denicio's in Battle Creek is amazing.
So good.
That's a Greek Coney Island. Wahoo's is not really a diner, but
Sorry, I'm short.
it
I'm
could
sitting
be
on my
it
foot.
could be classified as a diner. That's really good.
Metro Diner.
Metro Diner.
That's actually a chain.
We don't have one in Michigan though.
Well, we're close enough.
There's one in South Bend.
It's in Mishawaka.
And it's 20 minutes from us.
But they have them all over. So, they have them in Kentucky. They have them everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's a chain diner, but it's the chicken and waffles.
Would you also call National Coney Island and Leo's a chain too? I mean, it might only be Michigan.
It is
but
only
I think it's only in Michigan.
So,
But Nationals, I've been going to National Coney Island since I was 15.
right.
And I'm old. So,
I've been going there since I was 15 too. But
National Coney Island is only in Detroit area.
that's fair.
That
There's
is
only
true.
3 of them over there.
I think that was 5. That was pretty good. So eating out, what's something else?
Babysitters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Babysitters. We miss babysitters.
We do. We miss the babysitters. The other night we went on a date and
To the drive-thru
we literally
and back.
drove to Benton Harbor to Henry's Hamburgers. That's another good one.
that
That's
is
a diner too.
That's
That's
a
like kind of a
drive-thru,
lunch diner. But they do have a drive-thru. So we went to Henry's Hamburgers. It's about 25, 30 minutes from here. So we drove over there and drove back. She's got to get the dog. She got to go get Maggie. So there's 23 dogs in our apartment complex. So when she sees one, she's got to bark at all of them and say, hey. But anyway, we went to Henry's Hamburgers, got drive-through, drove back, picked up the kids, came home. That was our date night the other night. And so,
Pretty good.
I miss camp.
We'd miss camp.
Right now, we would have been at the camp probably at least 5 times because we're there to help open. We are there to help with.
Well, and this was going to be district conference. Yeah, this was spring conference this week. Like tonight would have been the ordination service. Tomorrow night, Master Rally. And the Mother's Memorial Banquet. That's right.
It's kind of weird. We usually have spent at least 3 weekends at camp by now.
Yeah, and we were up there for about a week. We went up, and as a lot of people know, we've completely renovated the tabernacle. We redid the platform, new carpet, the whole thing. And so we spent about a week there working on the sound, getting all that ready. So we have been there, but it's just not the same. There. It's not the same.
It's too quiet.
The camp atmosphere.
It is.
Yeah, I know my granny and papa got back to the campgrounds a couple weeks ago, and I talked to him the other day, and she was like, "Yeah, Papa's out working." And I was like, "Well, yeah. What else is he gonna do?" Shout out, Granny and Papa, if you're watching. All right, so this actually segues us very well into our next question. Let's talk about camp stories. Now, we could probably spend the whole hour talking about camp stories.
There's not enough time. I was
okay. I do have a really good camp story that I have probably been saving for 10 years. Because longer than that.
This is the time.
We were married.
I don't know. Oh, okay.
It was before we were married.
I think I know what this one is then.
I was a camp counselor at, I don't remember, it was junior high or senior high camp with Jen and Dawn Malaga at the time. And there was a girl in our dorm.
Oh, Steph, don't tell the story.
It's so funny, though.
Honey, if you're watching tonight, I'm really sorry.
I don't even remember who you are, so it's okay. I just remember the story.
But you know who you are.
And Jen and Dawn probably know who you are. It's okay. So she would get to laughing, and she couldn't control her bladder. Well, girls were telling her jokes in the cafeteria, and she started laughing so hard she had an accident. So
in the cafeteria?
In a metal chair in the cafeteria.
Where we eat.
Like there was like a puddle in the chair.
That's why we had to get new chairs.
This was like, okay, honestly, this was like 12 or 14 years ago. So it was a long time ago. And so the girls that were with her that helped her discreetly get back to the dorm so she could change her clothes, they were like, "You guys will never believe what happened. She was laughing and she wet her pants and blah, blah, blah." And so we were like, "Oh my goodness, is she okay?" So Dawn is like the motherly one of the three of us. And so she's like being so kind and, "Oh, honey, are you okay?" And the girl's like, "Yeah, it happens sometimes when I start laughing really hard." She's like, "Okay." So Jen and Dawn and I walk out. This is like before all the night activities. We walk out, and a couple of the girls stay back, and they're like joking around and trying to make her feel comfortable again. We come back about a half hour later, and the girls are still in the dorm, but the girl who had the accident, she was gone. And they're like, "You'll never believe what just happened." They're like, we got her laughing, and she did it again. She had another accident. We're like, "Oh my goodness." They're like, "Yeah, but the best part is, Dawn, she was sitting on your bed when she did it." Okay, I'm not lying. I lost it. Like, straight up.
And you were the counselor in
this
story,
yeah, we were
right?
the counselor.
You were the counselor.
Straight up, had an accident on Dawn's bed, soaked all the way through her blankets and sheets and everything. It was something I'll never forget in my life.
How did you handle that as a counselor? I think this is some good on-the-job training for our counselors.
Honestly, you can't. I mean, people have conditions. I mean, it happens. I mean, it's not something that we talk about because it's usually
until now.
Well, but the truth is, it's like it happens. And Dawn, I mean, I learned a lot of wisdom from her. She was just so like, she felt bad for the girl, like, "Honey, are you okay?" The girl tried to avoid her like for the rest of the week, but Dawn wouldn't let it happen. She's like, she thought Dawn was going to be mad and yell at her and all this stuff. And Dawn was like, "No, I just want to make sure you're okay. Like, I can wash the sheets," which is really like one of those things. Like, I guess when you're a counselor and you have situations like that, it's like, just think about how they feel. And, just put yourself in their shoes. Like, she didn't sit there and do it on purpose. She wasn't mad. It happened.
We're reading some of the, so we're reading
I was just about to say, let's go to the comments.
So we're reading comments right now too on the video, and I saw Brother Lehman has some camp stories. Some of his are great. We need to make sure that we have him on one of these calls because he's got some good camp stories too.
Oh,
Yeah.
District
Secretary for Kevin Lehman.
One here from So one here I'm looking at is from Robert Caldwell. So I've got too many, and I'm really I've kind of chilled over the last few years, the last couple of years.
Last couple of years.
And last year. So last year I was dared to go out as far out on the ledge as I've ever gone with just, as far as like trying to show that I was really angry and really mad. And so much to that, we threw a trash can across the dorm.
Nothing is like the day that somebody cut a head off of a inflatable unicorn.
Yeah, let's talk about that, Brother Austin. No, I'm just kidding. We won't.
Moment of weakness. I don't remember the unicorn's name, but it's dead. But it's dead now.
So Robert.
My pastor and I had to talk about that. It's okay.
So Robert just put in the comments that I kicked their trash can over and made him clean it up. So there's a lot of those stories that it happened a few years ago, about 6 years ago, I think. I forget who it was, but we had a counselor that said, hey, let's just have a lot of fun with the campers. Like, they're all wanting to sneak out late. Let's wait for all of them to go to bed, and then let them go to sleep, and then let's just go in and, go nuts on them. And so we did that, and it kind of became a tradition where, each year, and like one year, we scared all the junior hires. We lined them all up after they snuck out, and I just called a bunch of restaurants that I had in my phone. I don't know why I have a bunch of restaurant numbers in my phone, but it was camp time. Times were crazy, but I prank called, like I was calling all their pastors, but I called all these restaurants and left messages at these restaurants acting like it was their pastors. And so I know we are a little mean, but that was a fun night. But I remember this one with the trash can. It was I think this was 2 years ago. It was the brand new dorms, or the brand new dorm that we had just done for the boys side of the dorms. And we go in, it's the last night, and the trash can in that dorm had not been emptied all week, so the trash was literally up the wall, and that did kind of set me off. I was a little upset about that, but I saw
up the wall.
It drove me up the wall right next to it.
Dad jokes.
Welcome to the Dad Joke Club. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to have these boys clean up their dorm and also get the trash taken out. So without even hesitating, I just saw it, and I threw my arms behind the wall of trash, threw it out, and then I grabbed the trash can, and I threw it across the dorm, and it scared half of them. So we leave the dorm.
Did they video it?
Well, we leave the dorm, and I forget who was with me. I think you might have been with me on that one.
I might have.
But we get out, and then I hear, I think it was Seth or Silas Harper go, "Oh my goodness, did anybody get that on video?" And all of us were like, "Oh no, they're going to post that. People are going to think we're serious. We were just messing." So we had to go back in, explain, "Hey, listen, we're just messing around, guys. We thought we'd get you back." But
speaking of Silas Harper.
Of course, we couldn't let it go without bringing up one of the Harper boys.
He submitted a question.
Oh, okay. Man.
All his question said was, and I'm going to try to read it as I would imagine that he meant it to be read. Okay. He said, "What you doing with that bat, Brother Hopper? Finna home run?" You care to elaborate on that?
Yeah. I have no idea what that means. I have a bat in my hand, I'm about to fit in a home run, hitting a home run or something. But because that's all I do at the campground is just hit home runs.
Oh man,
hit dingers.
I hit dingers. No, I don't really know what that means, but that sounds like something he'd say.
I'm sure there's some context to it. Silas, if you're watching, feel free to write us a story in the comments about
definitely
what Brother Hopper was doing with that bat, and if anybody else knows what Brother Hopper was doing with the bat.
I'm curious to know too.
I remember the one time you were playing softball and you slid and you ripped your leg wide open.
Yeah, I can't show y'all because whatever. But
it's above the modesty line.
It's above the modesty line of my ankle. But I have a spot about that big on my leg where there's still no hair has grown back on my leg from where I slid into home at the campground. We won the game, by the way. but like 2 weeks before that or a week before that, Teddy Lesmer, I can't even say Teddy. Theodore, he slid into home head first and busted his nose all up. And I thought, I can't let that kid outshine me out here. So it was we were down and we needed one run to win. And so I hit a long shot and I come around third and I saw him throwing that ball home. And I thought, no, it's got to end right now. We're winning.
My wife's going to kill me.
So I slid right into home, scraped the hair right off my leg, went up to the nurse's station. I don't remember who was in there, but she was mean because she sprayed my leg with that alcohol.
It wasn't
and
alcohol. It was peroxide.
That
baby.
stuff about burned my leg right off my. I mean, I thought they were gonna have to amputate it. It hurt so bad. So yeah, the hairless leg was the price for the win. That's for sure.
But you won the game.
But we won the game, and that's all that matters, and it's for the kids. It's for the kids.
I still have to say, Teddy.
Oh,
your Teddy's story. If you don't know Teddy's story, go find Teddy, ask him about it. But he broke his nose. Yes, Alana is right. Winning is all that matters. Broke his nose sliding head first in kickball, and it was a walk-off home run. Had to
have surgery.
He did?
Yes.
He did? Oh, I didn't know that.
Hey,
yes.
Stop it. Sorry, my dog was trying to jump through the window.
All right. Any other pressing camp stories? I know we can. Well,
listen, I will tell you. Let me tell you this: the best. Now we can go way old school, but they're not my stories to tell, so I won't tell those. But I will say, since I have been youth president, I will publicly state this to all of our camp evangelists that have been at our camps. You have done a phenomenal job. But the best camp evangelist we ever had was Mato Huizar. When he came to our camp and he took over the night security team, the second time he preached at our camp, he just felt so at home that our night security team had nothing to do because he was the one that was driving around yelling at kids. And it was great. It was great. Now, I don't know if he was the best preacher we've ever had.
Stop it.
But
they are friends.
I love you, Mato. Mato's my buddy.
For those that are watching, just in case, because we're live. Give us a camper story from Austin Hopper's camper years.
Austin Hopper was never a camper.
Zero.
No.
Actually, I was a camper 1 year for Crusaders camp.
Austin Hopper was too high maintenance to stay at the campground.
That's not true. That's not true. It's a little true.
He didn't like the bathroom.
It's a little true.
And you know what? His son takes after him because our oldest will not be a camper because he doesn't like the bathrooms. Hey.
No,
Kevin Lehman.
Kevin. Shh. I did go to camp 1 year, but it wasn't just because of that. My parents evangelized. They were still children's evangelists during my camper years, and so I went with them, and we did a lot of camps during the summers. So I really don't have any. I hate that I don't have any camper stories. But I've got a lot of stories of being at camp, but unfortunately I don't have too many as a camper.
Let's hear one story. I feel like you had a specific story in mind just then when you said, I have a lot of stories of being at camp. Let's hear one of those.
So we had 1 year.
He can't share everything.
Yeah, I can't tell everything because
I don't need everything. I just need some.
I want to wait till after I'm not youth president anymore to share a lot of these stories.
Listen, we'll write a book after camp is over.
We will. Listen, y'all go on an AYC trip with us. Obviously not this year, but next year y'all go on an AYC trip with us. Nathan, hey, Nate, or where is it at? Over here? No.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah.
Right there.
That way.
Right there. Nathan Hayes has some good camp stories. I'll share one with you. I wasn't necessarily a camper. I was at the campground. I wasn't staff. I wasn't a camper, but it involved me, Andrew Lehman, and some other. For some reason, every time I got into trouble at camp, Andrew Lehman was involved. But there was the Goodspeeds were the cooks for that week of camp. And Andrew and I had went into
I just thought of one.
the Andrew and I had went into the cafeteria one night because we were the night security team before everything was all organized. And Andrea, if you only knew. So we went in and I think Andrew might be on. He's producing us tonight, so he can jump on his mic and correct me. But we were in the cafeteria just chilling, hanging out. Well, we had found the box of cookie dough, and we were kind of just hanging out in there. The box of cookie dough was out. Well, somebody had come in and taken a picture of us in there with the box of cookie dough. Now, we didn't get into the cookie dough, but we had it out. Well, then we put it back and everything. So we leave the cafeteria and we go secure the grounds and whatnot. The next morning, we come in for breakfast, and the Goodspeeds won't let us eat breakfast because somebody ate all, no joke, a box. They ate all the cookie dough.
Like a case of
cookie dough for 2 days worth of camp. Well, somebody showed, we don't even know who this woman was, but she showed the Goodspeeds her digital camera of us standing over the box. So we were caught literally with our hands in the cookie jar, but we didn't get no cookie dough out of it. So we were blamed and we were framed for stealing all the cookie dough. So the Goodspeeds would not serve it. Now, it was all in good fun. They would have served us, eventually, but
they weren't making us starve.
They weren't going to make us starve, but they made us eat those edible crickets to pay for eating all of those little things of cookie dough. Come to find out, the people that did eat the cookie dough, they popped in for the night. They were just there for the night and then they left. Never got any punishment, nothing. They admitted it, like 2 weeks later at family camp to us, but we couldn't.
You have a platform. Would you like to call them out by name?
Oh, no, I won't do that. I love them too much.
For the viewers?
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
I met you.
Yeah, I know.
I think Andrea was right that hesitation was indicator that not all the stories should be shared, so we won't. We're going to play a game, and we're going to start with Sister Stephanie.
Okay.
In just a moment, we are going to put 30 seconds on the clock, and we need you to name as many candy bars as you can, or candy bars, anything within the candy genre, and then we're going to see if you could name more than our one of our favorite counselors.
No, cheating. He's cheating.
She's cheating.
Okay, listen, this is my fault.
Victoria Bauer. So we had, just to give a little background for the audience, we had our chief fun officers, our CFOs, the wonderful Andrew McCool and Jerry Zimmerman. They're helping us with our fun segment. So they talked with Mike and Victoria Bauer, and later in the show, we'll put Brother Hopper against Brother Mike. But right now, we're going to put Sister Stephanie up against Sister Victoria. Are you ready?
Okay.
On your mark, get set, go.
Okay. Butterfinger, Milky Way, Snickers, Starburst, Skittles, M&M's, Sour Patch Kids, Swedish Fish, Blow Pops, Reese Peanut Butter Cups, potato chips. Does that count? That's not candy.
No.
Okay. Let me think. Oh.
Less than 10 seconds.
Oh gosh, so much pressure. Whatchamacallit, Payday.
Time.
That's harder than you think.
I counted 12. So 12 is the number to beat. Brother Andrew Lehman, our producer, why don't you go ahead and roll the video and let's see if Sister Hopper won.
You are going to name as many candies as you can in 30 seconds. Jerry?
Ready? Candies or candy bars?
Anything, any candy.
Any candy. All right, ready? On a count of 3, 2, 1, go.
Starburst, Butterfingers, Snickers, Sweet Tarts.
Oh.
Nutrageous, Reese's, Blow Pops.
10 seconds.
Peach
5
bar.
seconds.
Your mom's doing terrible.
Time. All right. Not our best showing. We'll put you up against one of our other guests later in the week, and we'll see how you do against them.
So you did win. Barely. But you won. So we'll put that on our scoreboard that doesn't exist. Our guest has won 1-0. So good job.
Live, where the games are made up and the points don't matter.
Exactly. It's our first time. We're making things up as we go.
Let's do it. It's the best way.
All right. So audience, I know we have a decent number of people watching right now on Facebook Live. If you have questions for the Hoppers, drop them in the comments right now. Whatever you're doing, just drop a question. It could be random. It could be funny. Just drop them in the comments. But while you're doing that, let's go to another fun question. Austin, why don't you tell us, everybody loves a good love story. Why don't you tell us how that you met your wife?
Well, actually, I don't really remember how we met.
Through Andrew.
It was through the Lehmans. But I just don't really remember how exactly we met. But I can kind of tell you our story from when we started dating up until we got married, which I think is a great story. So I would think that we at the camp. Oh, it's just a wonderful story. I think we met at the campground. Mm-hmm. Most likely that's where we actually met.
Do you not remember this?
Where we met?
Yeah.
Where we met? I didn't know if it was at a district event or at the camp. So anyway, but when we kind of started talking, I guess, or the moment that I kind of knew that I liked, Red over here, it was at family camp. It was a Friday night. And do you remember who was preaching that night? Because I do. Jeff Arnold was preaching, and Everyone's Connected. That's right. And so we were on Everyone's Connected and MySpace, and
Everyone's Apostolic.
And so I got distracted. Oh, so what happened that night? I was supposed to be running sound that evening, and there was some issues during the day. Well, something had happened. Another sound guy had got there and kind of took over the sound booth. It wasn't anybody that y'all know, but he was a professional. So I was like, you know what, this is fine. I'm going to let y'all. So I went down to sit with our crew, with Andrew, Austin, myself, some other friends. And then Stephanie, when we sat, we were on the back row just because that was the last seats in the house. Okay. It wasn't like we purposely went to the back row, but we were on separate sides of that row. Well, by the end of the night, we had ended up next to each other. And so anyway, when all was said and done on that Friday night, we all decided to go out to eat. So we all went to Steak and Shake in Battle Creek, and I had rode out to the camp with my parents or my dad or something. I don't remember how it was. So I needed to ride back. So they said, hey, why don't you just ride with us? So I jumped in the car with Stephanie, Andrew, and Austin, and we go to Steak and Shake. Well, we were the last ones there. So Stephanie and I end up sitting at the end of the table together, right across from each other. And I can take you right to the booth, too, in Battle Creek where it was. So we're sitting there. The whole night's done and everything. Well, I got paid that day from working my job and whatnot. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just pick up their meal for bringing me home. I'm going to go ahead and get their meal. So I paid for Stephanie, Andrew, and Austin's meal and mine, Steak and Shake. It was easy breezy, whatever. So they take me home. And I remember getting out of the car thinking, man, I really like Stephanie. I want to get to know her a little bit more.
That's our neighbors.
Our neighbors just feel out. Anyway, so I'm like, I really want to get to know her more. So we kind of just, we just stayed in touch as friends and everything. So a couple years later, or year later, maybe went by. And so we are at a youth rally together up in Midland, and we're singing at a youth rally. And I'm playing drums, she's singing. And afterwards, we're, the road from Midland, I think that's 75. I was going back to Mount Clemens. I was staying with Aaron Hall that weekend, and they were going back down to wherever, downriver somewhere. So we were on 75 together. And so we just kind of, stayed neck and neck and whatever. And so we exchanged numbers that night, and I knew I was going to be doing music. So at one of the camps, and I'm like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to, connect to Stephanie. Well, she was really good friends with Jim Malaga. Jim Malaga was really good friend. Well, she went to the Mount Clemens Church, and I was good friends with Aaron Hall. So that was kind of our connector was Jen, because I knew Jen really well. She knew Jen really well. So anyway, Master Rally comes around, and I was just a part of the music at Master Rally, but I knew I was doing the music at camp. So junior high camp, yeah. So after Master Rally, I was setting my drums back, or taking my drums down, putting them in the van, whatever, and so she's kind of helping me take it all. And I said, hey, you know what? I need to talk to you and Jen tonight about helping me at camp. Why don't we go to dinner after service tonight? So we went to, Applebee's, everybody's favorite Marshall restaurant, and we had dinner that night. And we just kind of stayed connected through that time and up to camp. And throughout camp, they sang, they were counselors. And I think that was the week that the girl, did, anyway. So
the story from earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we connected that whole week of camp, and I'm like, okay, this is it. And I remember I was rooming that week with David Moorhead, and he goes, it was like Thursday night, and he's sitting there and he's like, hey, Bubba, I see you got your eye on somebody this week. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to play it off cool and whatnot. And he goes, Bubba, I've known you a long time. I've seen you got your eye on somebody. I think that was somebody that stole your car today. What happened was I would leave my keys in my car, my PT Cruiser, and Jordan was at camp, my brother. Well, Jordan was a camper. He would randomly just get in my car and start driving my car around the camp. Well, we're sitting on the basketball court Thursday night, and I just see my blue car just rolling up. Well, Jordan's out playing basketball, and I'm thinking, who in the world is in my blue car? Well, come to find out, it was her and Jen who got in my car because they found out I left my keys in there. So they're just driving my car around the camp. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, there's something here. So so we start talking and whatnot. So the next week, senior high camp rolls around. She's got to work the first part of the week, but she's able to come down Wednesday. So we're hanging out throughout the week and whatnot. And on Thursday night, I'll never forget, it was one of the scariest conversations of my life. It was the day I wanted to ask Stephanie's pastor, Brother Bruce Lehman, if I could date her. Well, I think he knew, and I think Sister Lehman knew my intentions. And so it was steak night for all of the staff on Thursday night. That's back when we did steak nights. And so we're in the cafeteria, and I go to Sister Lehman. I said, hey, Sister Lehman, I said, I'm looking for Brother Lehman. Do you know? Oh, he's outside cooking steaks. And I said, oh, okay, I'll go talk to him out there. So I go out there, and Scott Sistrunk is standing out there with him. And I went out and I said, hey, Brother Lehman, I hope you're doing okay. Oh, I just see you're watching. Hey, Brother Lehman, good to see you. I said, hey, I hope you're doing fine, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I said, can I talk to you privately? He goes, yeah, sure. Well, Brother Sistrunk didn't leave. He just stood there. And I said, well, I'd like to just talk to you and me. He goes, oh, no, it's fine. He can stay. I said, okay. I said, well, Brother Lehman, I said, I'd like to start dating Stephanie. And, I know she's very close to your family. You're her pastor. And as her pastor, I'd like your permission. You see, it's always good, young people, to go to your pastor or the girl or the man, whoever you want to date.
Mr. Rogers is giving you a lesson right now.
So anyway, go to the pastor first. Always best to keep him in the loop. Get his blessing and the pastor's wife blessing. And if you really want his blessing, get the pastor's wife blessing first. Then, for sure. But anyway, so I said, I'd like to date Stephanie. And Brother Sistrunk goes, ooh, this is awkward. And I just thought, are you kidding me? Oh, my goodness.
Did he leave?
Come on.
Or did he
No,
just stay after saying that?
He wasn't even doing anything. He was just standing there talking to Brother Lehman. So anyway, so he goes, well, I guess if you want to, I guess you can, and I was just all giddy inside and whatnot. So that night we started, we were talking and whatnot. And the next day I had to fly out to go to Houston to preach a revival that weekend. And so I needed a ride. So I asked Stephanie, and I said, hey, will you take me? I said, we've got Brittany Bullens. She'll ride with us. So that way we've got a third person. And so she took me to the airport the next day, which happened to be her birthday. And that's the day we officially started dating. I asked her to be my girlfriend on that day. And so we started dating. And so the first week we started dating, I left town and was gone for about a week and a half. And then I came back. It was family camp. And so anyway, and then we dated up until about December 25th on Christmas Day. I asked her to marry me at the Potter's house in Battle Creek in front of my whole family. Don't know what I was thinking there, but she said yes, y'all. And Really? I'm
We
really
were
excited about
married
that. And we were married
1 year.
1 year and 5 days to the day we started dating.
Yep. Well, it was the Friday of camp, and the next year we were married on the Friday of camp.
Yep. So I know that was kind of a long roundabout story, but anyway.
We don't necessarily always condone like only date 6 months, then get engaged, and then
no,
be
but when
married
you
6 months later.
know, and we had the blessings of our pastors. We had meetings with our pastors, and her parents, my parents. We had meetings, and yeah. And you know, one thing is we group dated. We didn't date just the two of us.
Okay.
We did group dating.
You
I
can
encourage group dating.
Stop.
Sorry,
This is
pastor moment just kicked in there.
Oh Lord, help us.
Hey, I mean, you're jumping into the question I was going to ask. Let's give us some pro tips, youth presidents tips for Christian dating today. Let's hear it.
You want to give some? Don't date alone. Okay? Too many people can say things, you can walk. The heart is not as innocent as you would like to think. You can walk into too many situations that you don't need to be in. Group dating, always bring the third wheel or, the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth wheel, whatever. But we always, when we were youth pastors, when our youth group, we always encouraged group dates. You can get to know the person and it's not an awkward thing if y'all break up because, you were just hanging out with all your friends.
Are you done?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. You will keep talking.
I will.
So I am of the mentality, don't just date to date.
Oh, yeah.
So don't start dating until you are in a place where you see yourself being in a relationship with the potential of marriage, because it's not a good idea to just serial date people. It doesn't look good for you, whether you're a guy or a girl. And it also is not fair to your heart to do that. So I am of the firm believer you court more than you date. And I know courting is kind of like an old-fashioned word, but don't date just to date. Don't just have this long line of old boyfriends that you used to have or old girlfriends that you used to have, because that's not fair to your future husband or wife. So when you go, oh, yeah, we used to date. Oh, yeah, we dated 6 months. Oh, yeah, we dated like 3 months. Like, that's awkward.
Oh, yeah,
so,
we used to date. We dated that week of camp.
I don't have to worry about that with him because he never had a serious girlfriend before me.
No.
I don't have to worry about that either.
Calm down. Oh, I know what you're getting ready to say. Don't say it.
His family was
Stop
like,
it. Stop. Okay. Well, you can say it. Whatever.
I'm so glad you have a girlfriend. It's about time. And she's pretty, too.
That was my great-grandmother that said that, y'all. She did. We went to go visit her in the nursing home. And she was surprised when we brought in this pretty girl. She goes, who's this? I said, this is Stephanie, my girlfriend.
Except that after that, she was the sweetest lady. She had Alzheimer's, so she, for the longest time after that, thought I was getting married to Jordan.
She did.
Which was very awkward.
Very disappointing. Very disappointing. But yeah, we could go too long on that, but that's kind of our number one things. My thing is, and I agree with her too, that's a strong one.
Don't date somebody that does not take the relationship with God seriously, boy or girl. You always want to try to seek somebody that is at least as strong in their relationship with God, but even stronger than you, because it kind of gives you motivation to be even stronger.
Don't flirt to convert. That's a slippery slope. It's easier to get pulled down than try to pull somebody up. Get them into church first. Make sure that they got
their friends.
Yeah, make sure that they're sound in their doctrine. They're set in their ways of what your church believes, what you believe, and then go from there.
I had only been in church 5 years when we got married. 5 years.
Yep.
Yeah, we got married. I was 20. I came into church when I was 21, and we got married when I was 26. But in that 5 years, God really rooted in. God put people in my path that really helped me get rooted and grounded. So by the time we met, he had no idea that I had not been raised in church.
Not at all. Not at all. So
actually, I don't think a lot of people still know that.
So, ladies, find a man who'll lead you to the altar and not the bedroom. Boom, drop the mic.
Geez.
Let's go on.
You want to source that quote?
Yes, Amber Huizar. Boom.
Just want to give credit where credit's due, you know.
That's right. That's right.
I know Facebook flags things for plagiarism and copyright, so.
I know I'm gonna have to send her a check for that one.
Stronger of the two.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to send her a check for that one.
Royalties.
Awesome. We're gonna play another game, and then we'll get into our last couple of questions.
All right.
So we're gonna put 30 seconds on the clock for you, Brother Hopper. And I think my screen froze, but if you can still hear me, we'll keep going. Cool. Name as many sodas or pop, since we're in Michigan, as you can. On your mark, get set, go.
Pepsi, Coke, 7-Up, Sprite, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Mr. Pibb, Dr. Pepper, ginger ale, and in the ginger ale is breaking it down. Canada Dry, Schweppes, Burners, oh man, L81, Big Red, oh my goodness, Root Beer, A&W, Barks, Mug. Oh my goodness, that's all I got for right now. 3, 2, 1.
All right, I counted just shy of 20, so we're right at, I think it was 18 is what I counted. So let's roll the video and let's see how many Mike Bauer got.
Mike, are you ready?
Is it the same thing or
It is
no?
not. Nope.
Oh, good.
30 seconds on the clock. Jerry's got it ready. He's going to count you in. You're going to name as many types of soda or pop as you can.
Are you ready, Michael?
Oh, yeah.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, begin.
Orange Coke, Cherry Coke, Coke, Vanilla Coke, Diet Caffeine-Free Coke, Pepsi, Diet Caffeine-Free Pepsi, Cherry Pepsi, Sprite, Sierra Mist, Mellow Yellow Mountain Dew, Code Red Mountain Dew, Voltage Mountain Dew, Baja Blast Mountain Dew. You have, what else do we have? Oh, Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, RC Cola, Meyer brand, Kroger brand.
9.
Did you say Fago?
Yeah,
I don't know.
wasn't there yet.
I don't know if we're going to count Meyer and Kroger brands, but
Yeah.
The Hoppers. Just let me know when you're back on.
All right, we're back on.
Honestly, you were more competitive than I thought it was going to be because he came out firing.
Yeah,
But right now,
he likes Coke.
the scoreboard is now guest 1, video 1. So we'll have to keep this going throughout the summer.
How many did Mike get?
I think he got 20. I think it was 20 that I saw up on the board. So you missed it by about 2.
Cream soda.
Quit it. You can't. He doesn't like to lose.
Just start
I don't
naming
like to lose.
Fago brands. So you got caramel apple, cotton candy, cream soda, and some other ones.
Yeah, I don't like to lose. That's why I quit playing, competitive laser tag.
Hey, competitive laser tag is a cutthroat sport.
I'm telling you.
Once you place third in nationals, there's just a fire inside you that,
It is. I tried to move on to the Dodgeball Association of America, but wasn't good enough. Can't dodge a wrench. All right, what's next?
All right. So that's a great segue to our serious questions.
Sorry.
So it's all good. It's live. We're having fun. So pretty much everybody knows that a few years ago you guys moved to Dowagiac from Battle Creek, going from assistant pastor to pastor. And so tell us a little bit about that, a little bit about your transition and what it's like. Do you have any advice for students that are in transition, especially now that we have kids that may not get to graduate or things like that? But what advice do you have for students in transition after going through a pretty big transition yourself?
Oh, man.
Roll with it.
Roll with it. Listen, if you would have told us, so we've been here a year and a half, okay? If you would have told us at this point 2 years ago that we were going to be living in Dowagiac, we wouldn't have believed it.
Mm-mm. We thought we were going to be in Battle Creek for the rest of our lives.
We did. And, working there and we miss, let's just be honest. We miss it. We miss Battle Creek. We miss the people there. And, and I miss getting to work with my dad. And I am so blessed that I had that opportunity. I know a lot of people don't have that. You understand what it's like working with your father. a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And so I was very blessed for.
There's a lot of grace and wisdom that comes
there
with
is.
that.
And you learn a lot. I learned during that time that it's hard for my dad to be my pastor, and it's hard for my pastor to be my dad. That was a very, thin line in our household. And we made sure that, in our house there that, when it came to church stuff, we didn't talk about church at home. We didn't talk about.
Well, we tried
not to. It was
at
literally.
the dinner table. It
at
was
the dinner
hard
table,
to
that was
not
the rule.
talk about church, but we tried not to talk about church because that was precious family.
Right. And not to put a secular term on it, but that was our business. We didn't talk shop at home. And so, did we lose you guys? Are we still there? Okay.
Yep, you're good.
All right. So it was a little bit, there was some things there, but we loved it. And when it came time to transition, it was about, maybe a month and a half from the time that literally maybe 5 weeks from the time that we found out about this opportunity to the time that we announced it in Battle Creek that we were moving. And
the church didn't know until the week before.
Yeah, the church in Battle Creek didn't know until the week before. And we didn't want to speculate, and we didn't want to do we didn't want to just put a word out there and then God say, that's not what I had in store for you. That was of your own doing. That was your own will.
We wanted to make sure that we knew that it was God's will, because things were only going to happen because those were fleeces that we put out that nobody else knew about. Actually, not even your parents.
Right.
Nobody knew, just us and God. And that way we knew when those things came back that they came directly from God through whatever means he brought them through.
And so one of those things was that, our pastor would be on board with this. My father would be on board. And we knew it was going to be, that line was going to be blurred because, what parents don't want their kids to leave home? And especially grandparents that don't want their grandkids to leave. And so we said, God, it's got to be your will. It's got to be for, everybody's got to be on board with this. And so when it came that time and we had that conversation, it was a tough conversation to have, if we're just being open and honest with everything, to have with my pastor, who was also feeling the emotions of a father
and a
grandfather and a father-in-law who was getting ready to lose his kids and grandkids. Even though we're an hour away, we try to go back up as much as possible. Literally during this time, I think
we're there all the time.
We've been there quite often, and we've tried to make. Stay home, stay safe. We've tried to, make sure that we stay connected as much as possible. But I've noticed now in this transition, because my pastor was on board with this, and my pastor gave us his blessing before we left, that now I can talk to him as a pastor to pastor. I can go to him for advice. I can go to him, and it's not anything awkward. And that's one thing that I see too many times is when somebody leaves a church to go pursue another ministry, too many times they leave on the wrong foot, or they leave and it's the wrong setting where they feel like it's, or they get in a hurry and they feel like God's, doing something right now, but yet it's their own will.
Maybe
that's really,
it is what God wants for you, but maybe you just need to just hold on 1 second.
Right.
Just wait a second. Just let me get these things in order first.
And so in a transition time right now, a lot of you that are getting ready to go to Bible college, that are applying for Bible college, seek wise counsel. Seek the counsel, first of all, of your pastor. And if you don't like what you hear from your pastor, don't go to another pastor. Don't go to another saint. Don't go to another youth pastor. Don't come to us. Go to God.
You have to be willing to hear the hard things from your pastor and take them as he's telling you this not because he wants to control you, whether it's your parent or not because he wants to control you, but because he loves you and he wants what's best for you. Listen,
your pastor is your shepherd. And
it was a hard thing for his dad to tell us you could go.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want you to go, but I'm going to do whatever God wants. And he said to us one night, I'm leaving to go have an argument with God about this. He told us that. That was an awkward, he wasn't kidding. It wasn't like he was saying it as a joke. He was like, I'm going to have an argument with God right now. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. And your pastor is your shepherd. He's been put over you because that's who God feels that can lead your soul into heaven. And your shepherd knows the field. Your shepherd knows the lay of the land. Trust your shepherd. And so during this time of transition, whatever it is that you're going to be doing, seek the counsel of your pastor. Have these conversations with your pastor. And the worst thing that he's going to tell you is, you know what? It's just not time yet. It's not ready yet. I've still got some training for you. I've still got some things I want to pour into you. And we had opportunities several times before this to go to other churches, and it wasn't the right timing for us. It wasn't the right timing for Battle Creek. And, in the moment, I would say I was a little hurt at that moment because I felt like we were ready. I was a grown man. I'm married, and I feel like I can make the decisions. But my pastor said that I wasn't ready. And at the moment, I thought, well, this is just my dad who doesn't want us to leave, who's not letting me leave. But I look back now at this decision, at this conversation, and I look back and I see he wasn't my dad in that moment. I thought the lines were blurred. He knew the lines were not blurred, and he was acting as my pastor. And that's a hard thing to do, is to put your trust in another man. But it's an easy thing to do as long as you are praying to God and you're seeking God for your counsel and for your wisdom. It's easy to trust the shepherd.
I would say too, not even so moving past that, since we've been here, in transition. So a lot of you that are watching might be transitioning from high school, into your college years or your career years, whatever you're going to do from here. And you're like, oh, yay, I'm leaving. I'm going to school. I can't wait to get out of the house. This is going to be so much fun. I'm going to get to make all my own decisions.
I'm getting out of this town.
I'm out of here. And just remember that, it's not always going to be easy. So you need to know where to go when it's hard. You need to know already what to do when it's hard. You need to know how to seek the word, seek it out in the word when things get hard. You need to already know how to pray when things get hard. You already need to know how to fast and have those spiritual disciplines, because some people, they do things because they live under their parents' roof, and that's the way it is in their parents' house. And sometimes you're basically living on the coattails of your parents' spirituality. So just make sure that you know where you are in your walk with God. It's memorize the scripture, even if you have to memorize it in another translation because King James is a little too confusing for you. I'm going to be the first to admit that I do read King James, but the New Living Translation is one of my favorites because sometimes it just puts things in a little better perspective for me. And sometimes when I'm having a really hard day, and I did a Facebook video about this not that long ago. Life gets hard sometimes. Life gets overwhelming, especially during transition.
Yeah.
And when things get overwhelming, I have a specific scripture that I kind of recite to myself over and over to just remember that, God's got this. God's got this. God's got this. I know who I put my trust in. We know who we put our trust in.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. What's the scripture?
Micah 7:8. Rejoice not against me, O my enemy, for when I fall, I shall arise. When I'm in darkness, the Lord shall be a light upon me.
Love it.
And the one that I go to and that I've been through with this whole quarantine is Nahum 1:7. It's something that I knew as a little kid. The Lord is good. In the day of the stronghold, in the day of trouble, the Lord is good. And when you're going through a day of trouble, when you're having stuff arise, when you're having issues, listen, the Lord's good. The Lord is always going to be good. And so that's our go-tos. And and maybe take this time, this transition. Maybe you're a little confused right now and you don't really quite know what to do. This is a good time to take a moment. And I don't mean just 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I mean, take a few weeks. Start to fast from social media, except for every other Thursday night with MDY Live. But take a fast from your social media. Take a fast from the things that's not necessary to everyday life. I thought today, I wanted to post today, Mark Zuckerberg, if you would close Facebook for one day, so many problems would go away. You know, if every single person in the world, I mean, it almost seems like right now we cannot live without Facebook. We can't live without Instagram or our Snapchats or Twitter. TikTok. I mean, you know, it seems like we can't live without it. But if we can take some time and not focus on what the world is shoving down our throats through social media, and we can dig into the Word, and I know so many preachers have said this, but if we can get out of Facebook and get into the faith book, you're going to feel, first of all, you're going to feel refreshed, but about your transition, you're going to feel a peace about your transition, no matter what it may be. You may go into this, and your pastor may say, you know what, you don't need to go off to that college right now. You don't need to go off to that university right now. You still got some growing up to do. You still got some learning to do. And you may go into this so upset, so angry, but once you get into the Word, and you begin to feel God's presence, you're going to start to feel a peace about it. Let God begin to speak to you during this time.
So just real quick, too, and kind of the same thread that we're at right now. The other day, I do devotions on my Bible app, and I did not know that on the Bible app you can do group devotions where you can invite, like somebody can start a devotion and invite people to do it, and at the end it's kind of like, what have you learned?
Product placement. Get a U version.
Anyway, so I was reading the devotion, and the scripture was Philippians 4. Philippians 4:13 is a very common scripture that everybody knows. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. But what really got me and kind of hit me in the heart was Philippians 4:12. And I'm going to read it in the New Living Translation because it just really kind of was like God speaking to me as, this is your fight song. This is your motto. And Philippians 4:12 says, I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or with little. For I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And it made that Philippians 4:13 just so much bolder when you read it with the scripture right before it. It's like, I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything because I live on Christ who strengthens me. So.
It's good. It's good. I think that is going to be a great place to end it. I have two questions from some students that I just want to fit in here. The first one is are there going to be MDY music tryouts in the next year or so?
Not this year. Possibly next year. We've been in transition. Brother Anthony Gonzalez has taken over our music team and doing a phenomenal job. Camp last year and HYC were his first events for doing music. And so he'll be doing music again this year for camp. But due to this whole, thing that we're in right now, we are not having tryouts this year. But we are looking forward to next year at some point, possibly even at HYC. That's not a guarantee, but possibly even at HYC there may be some tryouts. We'll let you know that. And I want to tell you a big thing that we ask is that if you want to be on the MDY praise team in the band, you've got to participate. You got to be involved. Don't just come to an event because you're playing or you're singing. Come anyway. That's how you're going to get involved, and that's going to be a good shot at being on. So, yes, to answer that question, yes, soon.
Awesome. All right, final question. It's a fun one. Caleb Clack asked, if you had to eat one thing on a McDonald's menu for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Chicken nuggets with a side of pickles.
That's neat.
Chicken nuggets. No. Seriously, when you really want Chick-fil-A, but you don't have a Chick-fil-A, go to McDonald's, order chicken nuggets, order a side of pickles, take the chicken nugget, put the pickle on it.
Listen, God did not call you to settle.
Listen. He doesn't like pickles, that's why.
I don't.
I burst his bubble when I told him that the meat is soaked in pickle juice anyway, so ultimately he's eating pickles. But one thing on the McDonald's menu.
One thing on the McDonald's menu. Oh my goodness. I'm not a big McDonald's. I mean, I eat it because that's one of the only restaurants we have right now.
All right, we can asterisk it to Chick-fil-A because I know that's your spot.
Oh, he would eat a chicken sandwich, no pickles.
Every meal, number one, no pickles, large sweet tea.
Oh, yeah.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Brother Austin and Sister Stephanie, for your time tonight. This was awesome. I think it's going to help a lot of students out there. Students, people on Facebook, thank you for joining. The rebroadcast of this is going to be uploaded to YouTube, and you can be able to see it on Facebook as well. Next, in 2 weeks, on the 28th, we're going to have Brother Alex and Sister Megan Dunning, our youth secretaries, on, and we're really excited about that as well. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining, everybody.